Welcome back to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. I'm Inquisitor Temperance Price, keeper of the Inquisition's Black Library, and this is the third volume in a report on the Valentyne Heresy, an actual play podcast set in the Genesis adaptation of Warhammer 40,000's Dark Heresy RPG. This report features Game Master Tom McGee and players Ryan LaPlante as Inquisitor Lucius Valentyne, Tyler Hewitt as Attikus Viz, Laura Hamstra as Eli Sharp, and Della Borovic as Morgan Rawls. My report shows that the Inquisitorial band have slaughtered a Chaos Space Marine. Eli and Attikus massacred the abomination. Morgan confirmed the Marine had been trapped for generations, and Valentyne discovered that Voidstain is innocent and being framed. What will happen now that they've seen the Voidstain estate is aflame? Find out next in this episode of the Valentyne Heresy.
From a Kuros family work order. Updating the Voidstain estate? Why even bother? You see flames licking the horizon in the distance as all of you make your way in carriage, robo-carriage, towards dear sweet Sacateur Voidstain's house, which is burning in the distance. This is of concern for two main reasons. One, there was supposed evidence to the conspiracy that you really want to find there, and two, because Valentyne, your quarry, the mysterious, unnamed guard that you met in the woods, was on staff there tonight. What do you all do?
Valentyne would stop the carriage, and he would turn to Eli and Morgan, and he would say, well, I'm afraid Sacateur needs to not arrive at his house in case this is some sort of retribution, as though the conspiracy has moved forwards and perhaps moved the authorities against him. The two of you need to take him and, shall we say, the case in the back, and perhaps go for a walk and stay out of sight.
Not back to the Van Outen estate, sir.
Normally I would fall back. However, the people at the Sacateur estate will realize that we did leave with Sacateur Voidstain. So we'll be a part of the conspiracy if we just bring him back to the house openly.
Right.
We could go back to our house. We could also go find out what the hell is going on.
Oh, I intend to, sir.
Could you maybe try and save my house?
We'll try. Get him out of here.
Good thing
Yes.
I brought my good walking stick.
All right, good. We're going to get out and nod to Eli to pick up the box.
Yeah, I mean, this is the box. Do we have
The
like
box.
anything anti-grav, or we just literally fucking...
Oh, that's a
Jesus
big boy.
Christ. Okay.
You can do it, Clarence. You're big and strong.
Calling you sir. Shit.
Rawls, grab this one end. Voidstain, you need to grab something too. I don't know. Let's just fucking
Rabute.
find a corner and lift.
Rabute, what do you say you and I approach on foot? Leave the carriage to these three.
Let's adjust. Carriage can go with Clarence.
Oh, good.
Sacateur goes on foot with Rawls Van.
Yes,
You take Sacateur. Keep to the woods. Keep him out of sight.
I will do that.
Excellent. If I call, go with whatever cover story you're given, because you may be being listened to.
No problem. All right.
Where do we want the box?
Take it back to the house and hide it somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Right. I'll lead.
Let's go for a walk.
Break.
Is the did we bring Morgan's gun on the carriage hidden, like in the
Yes, we did.
board?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to take that then.
I think
I'm gonna
that's
take
reasonable.
that and pull it out of the carriage. She's going to sling it on her back and turn to Voidstain and, all right, let's go.
Yeah, Valentyne is packing right now, but he'll have his fake stuff so he can switch out if they get to the house and see, like, I don't know, a ton of Imperial Guard and a Space Marine. He's going to not be packing heat. Tuck it under the seat.
Sure. Okay.
I guess he'll take them with him and trade them at the edge of the property if he needs to.
I mean, you can dump them somewhere too. Just drop
That's what
them.
I mean. He'll
Yeah.
just drop shit.
And
if
it
he
is
has
still
to.
night. Like it's
Yeah.
the evening is it's almost dawn, but
We'll scope the scene
It's
and then you can
darkest
ditch
up here.
weapons as necessary.
Yeah.
great. Okay. Morgan, let's start with you then. Let's roll a I guess stealth would still apply here.
Okay.
Just in a Metal Gear Snake Eater kind of way of stealthing in the woods. But there's an added difficulty to this,
Yes.
which is
I have a friend.
yeah, who is, shall we say, less stealthy than Morgan. So I'm going to roll stealth for him as well, and we'll
Okay.
see how stealthy the two of you really are. This is going to be difficulty 2. It's night. It's the woods. You can have a boost for Toby.
Yes, great.
And I think, honestly, a boost for not having anywhere, like, you're not trying to sneak up on anything. You're literally just trying to be like...
Stay hidden.
Stay hidden. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And I will give you a setback for Voidstain just crimping your style.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's also going to roll, but it will be less good.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. What are we looking at here? Sorry, I haven't had to roll stealth for him before.
Also, didn't want a story point, but what are we story pointing?
I have it as 2 and 3 for 2 for us, 3 for Tom in my notes, but I don't know if that's accurate.
That is one of the many boxes in my notes. Accurate enough.
I was gonna
Speaking
say,
of, I do think
enough.
that's the show shirt I want. It's just a box that has
All of the
3 and
things.
2, 2 and 3, 3 and 2, 2 and 3.
I think that's a real math problem.
Crossed out in another box, just in random places throughout the shirt. I think it really sums up me and my style, if you can call it that. Okay, so stealth is...
Believe in you, little guy.
Agility. That's your first mistake. So we'll say...
We're doing what we can.
It's a boost because he has his walking stick. He has a boost for Morgan. He has a setback for being him. Let's go.
Does he have a sneaking stick?
No, I left that one at home.
Just for
It's the normal one, but it's got like a
It's
furniture
on
pad on the
fire.
bottom.
Yeah, it's got the tennis
It's
ball.
less stealthy now.
Yeah.
It's got the tennis ball on the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
How would he do?
I mean, really well.
Hey.
Really well. He has... I can't believe this. A triumph, 3 successes, and 3 advantages.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you know what? Hang on. No, he doesn't. I didn't add any. I didn't add
No. So
Okay.
keep that. Keep
Keep
that.
that.
Keep that.
Roll
Here,
the
I'll write that down
difficulty
for you. Okay,
differently.
what did he get? What did he get? Triumph?
Triumph. He's going to win anyway. Triumph, 3 success, 3 advantage.
Just
And then I
roll the
rolled
difficulties.
2 failure, 1 threat. So he still has
So
1
he's
success.
triumph, 1 success, 2 advantage.
Yep.
And I have 5 successes, 1 advantage.
As he steps out, he just like whips his house coat off and wraps it around the cane. Says, "I am the knight," and starts moving remarkably quietly. And you realize this guy has somehow managed to survive in the grim darkness of the future where there's only war. So like he is good at not just getting
He's
out of the
got
way.
some stuff. He really is good at kind of disappearing into a crowd, too. I mean, he's not very remarkable.
In a just world, Attikus marries this man.
Look, it's just Buster Bluth at this point. Like you can always tell Milford Man level of just disappears into the background.
So I think
Oh
it
my
is nice
gosh.
because we can just take our time disappearing. I don't know endgame if Valentyne wants us back at the same estate. I'm assuming possibly. So we're meandering in that direction, but staying out
Sure.
of sight.
And I think he isn't, despite how chatty he normally is, he isn't like asking you if he's doing well or if the stealth is going good. He's instead, I think, doing if anyone's played The Last of Us, when you are crouched and you put up your like listening vision, Joel puts his hands up by his ears if you don't have a gun. It looks really silly. So he's just like crouch walking with his hands up by his ears
that's cute.
with his stick, just kind of like almost commando crawling. He's not getting very far, but like he is very quiet.
Yeah, that's perfect because then Morgan can walk a little bit farther ahead of him, check it out, walk back, to redirect him a little bit.
Yeah, you're just on a slow
taking their
escort
time.
mission in a video game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
sounding more and more like MGS3 just with Eva, just bringing her through the
Yeah,
forest.
100%. Yeah, and eventually they're going to climb a really long ladder. All right, so that'll do it for you two. That's great. You guys disappear into the woods. Clarence.
Hi.
So you're just heading back. I actually don't think we need any rolls on this. This is just like returning back. We will cut back to you as things advance. But let's switch over to Attikus and Valentyne.
Trundling along.
So, the two of you are going for a walk. Valentyne, I think I'm going to have you roll a... What do we want here? Probably a perception. Because...
Try to figure out what's going on from a distance.
Well, and more so just trying to account for the constant state of vigilance you're in about whether or not you need to toss your guns in the bushes.
Yes, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So let's go with difficulty... Let's go with difficulty 3 because we are also accounting for you trying to see what you can see in the distance. It'll count for both. You have a boost for your bionic eyes, or possibly 2. I forget what your usual...
1, it'd be 2 if he could also use his Auspex,
Yeah,
but I don't think would his Auspex count for this for like scanning in the distance? It feels weak to me. I usually would sell the Auspex.
No,
but...
I would take the Auspex because what you're if you're looking out for who you need to ditch guns around, then what you're actually doing is like holding it up, being like, if I see a blip at the top of this map, I have to throw my guns in the bush.
Fair enough.
So it's more as it's a preventative auspice than actually scanning.
Yep.
Just because I've got that, I always used to paint little dots on it, like the alien scanner
absolutely.
radar. So I fully buy like,
Yeah, it's like if we can see somebody approaching,
If
I
it
gotta hide
pings,
shit,
yeah.
then I'll know. Otherwise, if I could figure out who the fuck they are, it might not matter. If people are invading this and they're not Imperial, then I can be armed and that's fine.
Yeah.
yeah. So that, if there's a chance you would keep it, then we'll remove
That's
the
I'm like,
auspex.
yeah, we'll
okay,
go with that.
so let's remove the auspex. I thought it was just like if you see anyone, it's like, meh.
No. He's got to
Yeah,
calculate
you're
this.
just not going to ditch the
doesn't-
cargo for no reason like
He
Han
doesn't
Solo.
want to ditch his guns and then immediately get shot in terrible order.
All right, fair enough. Look, a GM can try. Okay, so you've got all of that.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's probably it.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it.
6 successes.
Good God.
I see the world.
Jimmy Space is strong with us. Okay, so you continue along the path. You aren't met by anyone. You had 6 successes?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. So the path is fine. Notably, you don't hear gunfire or anything as you approach. You just hear kind of the cracking of beams and things as the house kind of collapses in on itself. Is there anything else you would do as you approach? With that amount of success, you can kind of like have a freebie on the way up if you want, or you can just kind of, again, like his mansion's a bit weird compared to the other mansions in that because of all the bad things that happened, it's pretty well scorched earth up to the mansion. So when you come around a corner, you'll see the gate, and then beyond the gate, you'll have a clear line to the house because you are...
Yeah, if we want to say it, then I think it's what he would do is scope a spot where he could definitely stow the weapons in a safe space, and then he needs to go take a look at that gate, because the question in his brain right now is, did someone show up in like kind of like 3 options? Did someone show up and burn down the house? Is this house under assault or in some way attacked by evil forces that are not Imperial? Or the most likely thing he's thinking is someone slipped Forrest Pollard something as after the encounter he had as Brandon Herrera yesterday. Somebody went, this is weird, and either Forrest Pollard or the conspirators showed up and are just like, Imperial justice for evil. They saw the basement before we did. And then we just have an innocent Voidstain. Innocence proves nothing, Tom. It doesn't matter if we think he's innocent if all the evidence points to him being guilty.
That's not what the eye with the skull on it stands for. Not innocence.
I think you're innocent, it says. So he wants to get a look. If he can figure out the scene, then he can know how he needs to play this.
Okay, let's do one of your Inquisition checks for this, given that you have skills specifically for reconstructing.
Oh, yeah, one of the reconstructed scenes? Sure. Yeah.
Let's do reconstruct the scene. And then basically the way we'll treat this is I'll give you that information, and then based on the roll, what else you discover about the place. So we don't have to roll this like 6 times.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to use the same thing and have it count, it's a 3 purple hard perception check for success to identify this. So I can roll another one if you want, or we can use the same. What do you want to do?
Let's roll another one. That said, because you had so much success, I will give you 2 boost from your previous successes, which is, again, just like because you didn't meet anyone on the road, you had some extra time to scan the tree line, to like listen for with your, robo ears. In terms of other things, you can use your auspics for this because you would be, and I will give you an additional boost for Attikus, kind of being a second set of eyes, being the big beefy Dr. Watson to your Sherlock Holmes.
Got auspics in the form of corrective lenses. So
Lens specs.
Pretty perceptive. Perspective.
He's got his own perspective
There's
on
both
perception.
coming
I'm pretty perspiring. It's pretty hot.
All right, I've got 2 successes and 4 advantage.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So you come around the corner of the sort of winding road that leads to the Voidstain estate. That is, of course, as we've described, a little bit unkempt. This isn't a road that is often traveled. They're no longer a central point of the society. So coming around the corner, you see the gate is open outward. So it's clearly been like slammed open in a hurry. And beyond, the estate just kind of burns. And it is a conflagration. Like it is like big flames rolling off of it, very clearly on fire. But you don't see anyone around. There are no... Forced Pullard isn't standing there smoking a cigar with a bunch of royal guards shooting into it. It just seems to be a burning house in the middle of a field. So I will say, based on that roll, you get more than that, but that's just the initial.
That's the initial.
Like from the gate. So tell me how you want to proceed. But again, you don't need to roll constant investigations. This is for the investigation of what
not
is currently
seeing an immediate threat to himself. Frankly, Attikus with a power fist is more than enough to check out a burning mansion. So he would stow the weapons in case a fire crew shows up.
Sure.
This is also the point where he'd looked at Attikus and say, I believe we should call this in. Yes?
Oh, yes, Rabute.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Rabute would immediately make the emergency calls. The mansion's on fire, report that. But on the way to go get a closer look at the scene to try to figure out what the fuck is happening before fire crews show up.
Okay, so when you do buzz in that call, I'm actually going to need you to roleplay that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'm imagining there's like some sort of emergency line. Valentyne would have familiarized himself with the general equivalent of like the 911.
Oh, yeah. Like there's no way that your like clerk didn't tell you all of these things, because he would have been horrified. You've been away for so long. You probably don't know the correct channels.
Yes. Greetings. I am calling on behalf of Lord Francois Van Houten. We're outside the Voidstain estate and need to report that the mansion is on fire.
And a voice on the other side just says, yes, sir. Lord Barbastine already called this in. We're on the way. Please do not enter the burning building. I understand that some people think it may be interesting or fun, but I have to assure you it is not. Do not be a hero. We have firefighters for this, sir.
I will inform my lord. Thank you.
You are welcome. Please don't enter the building. And it clicks off.
I'm going to hang up the call and be like, they told us not to enter the building, and I told them I can't tell you what to do. So let's continue and go up to the building.
Yeah. Great. So with your successes and your advantages already rolled, you see that the main building is on fire. There are a couple of servants dressed in Voidstain gear outside that are dead, on fire. Very Uncle O and Aunt Beru style. They may have made it out of the building, but no good. But you're not sure. Those folks you would have to take a closer look at. So the fire is still raging. It is very clear. Again, this is a big, proper burning house. With your success, though, you do notice that there is a cellar entrance off to the side that feels markedly less burnt. It is, the top is lightly on fire, but it doesn't have fire spewing out of it. So based, again, on your investigation and the look at it, it just feels out of place. For a fire this big, for something to be not that on fire is odd.
This is tremendously strange, Lord Van Houten. I would suggest perhaps we should explore this section. If you were interested in, shall we say, playing the hero.
Yes, Rabute. We are going in to get answers for ourselves. Indeed.
Understood, sir. And he'll stand aside to let you open the door with your metal hand instead of his own.
Meanwhile, there's just a dispatcher somewhere being like, I bet they're going to go in and try and play the hero. I just looks at the poster being like, don't be a hero, fires kill. All right, so Attikus, you don't need to roll for this, A, because Power Fist, but B, the door is ajar, and you can see that it leads down into sort of the basement cellar area of the mansion. There is heavy smoke billowing out of this.
I was going to ask, okay.
But it's all connected. It's all part of the building, but it is not, what do they call it, backdraft, where you open a door and just fire blasts out at you. It's just heavy smoke. Door is ajar.
Valentyne would take his daredevil mask and shift it around to a mask covering his nose and mouth, and then he would just reach up and tear the sleeve off of his jacket to offer that to Lord Van Houten so that it's clear that the Van Houten is the one with the improvised mask moving forwards, and he's clearly just following orders.
What, you don't want to just comb mutton chop over your mouth?
Well, it doesn't come up very often. It's come up once or twice before, but Attikus has respirator lungs. He takes a big heaving gulp of clean air and then for show ties this thing around it, but he can hold his breath for an exceptionally long amount of time.
I think we learned that when you were in space.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. I just love, every so often at Theater of the Mind surprises where it's just out of nowhere, off air, Lord being like, yeah, well, he's got robot arms. What the fuck do you mean?
We're covered by sleeves and by pants.
Yeah, it's fair. It's like when a book doesn't mention that a character has facial hair until late in the book, and then he stroked his beard, and I'm like, the fuck? Specifically Jurassic Park. Dr. Grant is like stroking his beard. I'm like, what fucking beard? No.
He grew a beard.
He's Sam Neill. That's how long they've been there. Anyway, so Robo Lungs, the beard of
truth.
the internal beard.
The beard of the heart.
The beard of the heart, yeah. So you wrap your face, and I assume you're both going in?
Oh, yeah, Valentyne will follow for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So can I please get I think I'll take resilience or survival. And this is going to be difficulty 3. And this check, just in case you have any wacky shit I should know about, is you're entering the basement of a burning building. So there are some things you can anticipate, like the smoke that you can breathe through your weird robot lungs, and things you can't, like if the ceiling above you just fucking breaks and collapses. So this is just kind of to see how you fare in the burning building.
So 3 difficulty. Is the smoke acting as a black die? I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, a setback?
Setback.
No, because you have robot lungs.
That's what I'm saying. Do I include it or not include it, depending on what the scene is? Like, he doesn't have robot lungs. Does he need it?
Yeah.
Do I get a boost in addition to the setback already being in my pool? I get a boost because of my lungs? Or
Your lungs would theoretically remove setback would be my guess. I don't know what the rules are unless you've got
it reduces the difficulty of any airborne toxins, and then I have increased survivability in like vacuums and stuff.
Okay, increased survivability would help.
Okay.
I think the way we'll probably do this is let's go boost for you, Attikus, because you don't need to worry about breathing. Setback, though, for how difficult it is to see down here. And then, Ryan, you're going to get the opposite. You'll get a setback for just like smoke inhalation, but you have robot eyes, so you can see.
That shakes out.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, you can take a boost for your auspics. And actually, Tyler, you can take that one as well, because I feel like Valentyne would warn you.
So I get the boost for the auspics. I have a setback for the environment, but a boost for being able to see. Great. Would the environment be affected by my tempered will, which lets me remove 1 setback from critical injuries, disoriented condition, or fear?
Yes.
Essentially, Valentyne doesn't care if he can't breathe. Breathing doesn't help the Emperor in this instance.
Yeah, I think it literally
Cowards
would be
breathe.
Yeah.
I think that's probably...
I am rolling 12 dice in my pool right now.
I'm rolling 10.
Yeah. Go team.
Now we're both going to get despair.
Exactly.
So let's
Yeah,
wait
I'm
it
going to
out.
get crushed. Are you rolling, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, fuck.
I have 2 successes and 4 advantage.
I also have 2 successes and 2 for 6 advantage.
So we have 4 successes and 10 advantage between the 2 of us.
Building collapses and you die.
Meanwhile, I'm using a story point. I'm using a story point.
Firm but fair. Yeah, I can't fault you.
That's what there's a reason Genesis went out of print.
Yeah. Ryan, you spent a story point to just get a Buster Keaton level, like the building collapses. You just happen to be standing in the window.
Yeah.
Pay for a slightly cooler death.
Yeah. You spend another one. All the conspirators are standing there like Lenny, being like, "Don't tell anyone how we live." Okay, so you both roll incredibly well on this. So we'll say the Voidstain Manor was built at a time when they weren't Voidstain, so it has good bones. You make it into the basement, and you can very clearly see a damaged wall that has kind of burnt and crumbled. Behind it, there's a full Charlie Day, Always Sunny serial killer map that is singed, and you can feel the heat coming from kind of above you, and you can hear the cracking of planks and other things. But it is clear that this room hasn't been affected yet by the main flame. That said, it probably will be soon. Also, your auspic starts to ping Valentyne with a number of airborne vehicles rapidly approaching.
Has Eugene joined us down here?
Eugene would be with Valentyne, just tucked in a coat or floating around. Yeah.
Being impervious to smoke is only as effective as how long I hold my breath for. So I can't speak, but I do kind of gesture to Eugene, do like eyes, and then point at the wall.
Yeah, I think Valentyne would release Eugene to get it. He'd be scanning it with the Auspex. He'd just be recording everything about this room that he possibly can. Also, he's got his own eyes, so I think he just plugs himself into Eugene because Eugene is a Vox, so it's usually just audio. But to use Eugene as like the US, it's his storage hard drive for just recording through his own mechanical eyes, going through the space, just reading documents to make sure they're in focus. Like, it's just scanning the wall as effectively as possible, not trying to absorb the information right now. And then if there's anything that seems, based on this speed glance of everything, because that's more important than collecting. If there's anything that seems particularly necessary to get out of here in a physical sense, he'd snatch
Nothing you would need to physically take unless you want to take things off the wall. What you're seeing from the wall at a glance, without going too deep into what it is, there's pictures of all of the major houses. There's red lines between them. There is a rough sort of chaos sigil, like a couple of like hand-drawn, kind of like you see on Zodiac style things, where it's just like a photocopy of a handwritten note, that sort of thing. None of it is so unique that you'd want to take it unless you don't want other people to see it. So but there isn't like a single document or anything here that absolutely must be taken. One thing you would notice though from this closer inspection is the wall, or that you'd piece together from being down here, and
this room should be burning.
A million fucking things. This room should be burning. Also, there's no damage to this room, so the fact that this wall is half collapsed is very strange. There seems to be damage to it, but
was there any flame on our way in, or were we like a fully
not from
no
the
flame?
cellar? So the way you can think of it is there's a central building, fully engulfed, rolling flame. This is a basement, so that makes a bit of sense. The cellar door situation is licked by flame, and the kind of the top of it's on fire. But coming into this room is not on fire, nor were the stairs. The smoke is just billowing out of the other rooms. So essentially, as the main building is starting to collapse and burn, this room will burn, but it will be the last thing to go up, which does feel odd given how bad the rest of this fire is.
This is absolutely a fucking frame job to Valentyne. So what he wants to do is to complicate things in general. He carries, when he hasn't carried it to the specific events where Pollard's been referenced, but he would be carrying it this time. He carries a compact last pistol that he has had, for the record, since the very first episode, that has been tucked in his back. It takes him like the equivalent of, I can't remember what they're called, like movements or actions or whatever, like to get it out because it's hidden away. Yeah. So he would be like spending strain to get it out. But the thing about last pistols is you can charge their cells by leaving them in a fire. In an emergency, that's one of the reasons why Imperial Guard like them so much, because like, oh, you're stuck behind enemy lines and there's a fire? Well, I mean, it's going to fuck them up in like a week, but like dump them in. But you can hotshot a last cell by overcharging it. He would like to set his last pistol charger, just take a couple of shots as necessary, and if he can't shoot it and catch one of these papers on fire, just overload the cell and let it go off and like pop.
Oh, just light the paper that's all over this
like
wall.
Torch this place himself. And then we can just stagger outside and be like, oh, I can't believe what happened. He planned. He can't talk to you about this, but it's just like using the last pistol.
It would have to be, there's enough, like this is an extensive this is like a grade 10 A+ level of.
And that's why his thought is like,
his
thought is like, either if he can blow it up, great. Otherwise, use the last pistol shots to like light a paper and then just go around and use one to light the others.
I think based on how quickly everything's happening, supercharging it's the
great. He'll do
way to go.
So
great.
Done and done.
Okay, great. So you do that. And then it's like a cool guys don't look at explosions, but just a very small explosion.
Yeah.
As you stagger your way out, you can see the lights over the trees. It's very much an X-Files style, like drop ships coming in, scanning the woods as they approach. You have another like moment or two before they land. As you stagger out, very much playing the like, whoa, what happened? We did it. Do you want to take a look at these bodies? Do you want to risk taking a look at these bodies before these things touch down or no?
Valentyne 100% would. He'd flip his disguise back around to that, but he's got to check if people are alive, while also saying to Lord Van Houten, like, perhaps we should look for a very particular someone. The gentleman that we know was involved, who he would have pointed at and mentioned to the rest of the team.
Okay, so...
Yes, we need to check for survivors.
Absolutely, sir. We must make sure that this tragedy does not claim any more lives than it already has.
The amount of winking going back and forth right now is just...
Attikus winks back only because, like, Someone winked at him. That's all.
I would say Valentyne just nodded. He's got a Daredevil mask on.
That's right, yeah.
You just can't see him wink. So Valentyne's just nodding officiously and getting winks back. It's a strange disconnect.
Great. Okay, let's get...
Neither of these people act like people.
Let's get perception, I think, please. Although, honestly, I would also take a skullduggery. Maybe a streetwise? I don't know. How would you want to look at burning bodies for signs of
perception.
Life?
He's there with an auspex, like signs of life, but as he's also scanning signs of life, he's also like, where's the face I'm looking for? Someone's got the goddamn face. What's my difficulty, Tom?
Well, they're still on fire, and you don't have time to put them out, so 4.
Okay.
Difficulty 4?
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm searching as well. Unless you want it to just be one roll from Valentyne.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Boost for Valentyne from robot eyes. Setback from fire.
Setback from fire? Yeah, just because it's burning.
Makes it difficult. Yeah.
All right. I'll roll. 2 successes, 1 advantage.
Yep.
3 threat.
3 threat. Okay, interesting. Valentyne, for you sort of approach the first body. It's clearly not like the dimensions are wrong. For the guy that you're looking for, you had how many success?
2.
You can tell, just having looked at a lot of crime scenes in your training, that this body being here doesn't really make a ton of sense.
If they were this on fire, they're not running out of a house. That's like stuntman in movie bullshit.
That's the one. So that's what you kind of get from your quick look. Attikus, in trying to turn one of the bodies over, the sort of heat and stress of things, maybe one of the airships coming in, just causes a little bit of a draw in your attention. And unfortunately, the power fist just kind of, so gross. You just shift your grip a little bit, which unfortunately smudges the face of the body you were looking at. So you will not be able to determine if this person was the person you're looking for or not, because you smudged a flaming face.
Just a little bit of a...
Oh, yep, 100%. As Royal Guard ships drop in, and immediately guard jump out with guns and like have them at the two of you as they move forward. House burning in the background. And you can tell there's no like firefighting brigade here. This is literally like guards just showing up. However, one of them immediately kind of flips up her helmet, and you recognize Staff Sergeant Lillian Oliver, who just sort of says, "Oh, my lord, why are you sooty? Did you go in there?"
Well, of course I bloody did. We're looking for survivors. Where's the fire brigade?
And there's just kind of a general look around, and she looks a little sheepish, and she says, "My lord, Lord Voidstain hasn't paid into that fund for some time."
Well, my man Rebute called for the fire services. House Van Houten called for the bloody fire services.
And she says, "So you went into the building and you called the fire services? No fire services. I'm going to have a talk with that dispatcher." And she just like punches her fist. So she buzzes in a call, and sure enough, moments later, there's just like sirens blaring, and it still takes a few minutes for them to arrive. Like they weren't just floating nearby. But a couple of these Balancong hover ships just kind of fly in. And it's very much a little touch I really appreciated from Revenge of the Sith, which was like little ships with just like hoses on the side.
Yeah.
So just like spraying water. It's not like a water bomber comes in. It's just literally kind of spraying down from the top. And you can see the center of the house collapse in on itself as this is going on. The shed is now smoking, but even your
This
supercharged
is the cellar?
Yeah, that you guys came out of. Even the supercharged cell blowing up didn't set this thing on fire. So the rest of the building is kind of collapsing, but that place is still. The mural is gone, but like it didn't go up.
Like the structure that was built around. I think I'm getting what you're laying down, which is like whoever built this fucking thing to burn the house down so people would find the evidence. We set fire to the inside of it. It still hasn't burned down because they fucking fireproofed that goddamn shed.
There you go.
These motherfuckers.
So they kind of get the fire under control, but at this point, it really is like it's a half-assed effort. Also, there's nothing around here, right? So it's just kind of like, sure, we'll dump some water on it, but they're not worried about the forest going up because there's literally a massive, like, open field of nothing between the house and the forest. So Lillian turns back around as this is happening and just says, I looking at the person you picked up, Attikus, just kind of shakes her head and says, my lord, I appreciate your attempts to assist. We would like to recover these bodies now, if that's all right.
Yes, that will be fine. I understand Lord Boberstein called this in initially. Did he report any survivors?
He simply reported that one of his house staff had noticed the fire. It's not uncommon for, particularly before major events, for staff to be out and about. And despite the curfew, occasionally some of the lords will slip out in the night. As apparently you two did. She kind of like gives you half-assed guff and says, so no, he said that one of his staff who he promised to rebuke, but honestly was probably acting under his orders, had noticed the fire and thus called it in. No one has seen or heard from Lord Voidstain, however, so that remains a pressing concern. Are the two of you aware of his location? We did hear some reports that he was spotted with you, which seems somewhat odd.
At present, I'm not sure where he is.
All right, I need...
That's the truth.
Yes.
Yeah, I need deception from you, Attikus, but I will set the difficulty lower because you are telling the truth.
Okay. Valentyne, seeing this happen, would like to start lecturing other guards in this area about, these people could be alive. This is impossible. You need to get over here and help me put them out. Help me put them out. How could dare you not do this? This is important. I'm doing this for my lord. And he would like to use an ability that he rarely uses called blather, which is he can perform a blather action against a target. He's doing this to confuse this lady. It's an opposed deception or charm check. Deception in this case. If he's successful, it just adds 2 failures to perception checks made to detect the actions of his allies. It's literally just like, I'm here to talk a lot. Everyone has to look at him and get shittier at noticing things. So he would like to blather to try to cover Atticus's lie. So like that Lillian is just more distracted by him.
This is like we've got surprise robot lungs. We have surprise, a skill that is also named something so delightfully quaint. In the grim darkness of the future. Blather.
Yeah, he's basically as I said, like he's weirdly built to be this master of a heist crew. And he's got a heist all of a sudden.
Yeah, blather, most famously used by Horus.
He was all about that.
All about that blather. All right. So opposed.
So he rolls an opposed deception check in this case.
Okay.
So I can use that difficulty as the difficulty, or we can each roll. And what do you want to do?
Yeah, let's use that difficulty. I think works. What is your deception?
My deception will be 2 yellow and 2 green.
Okie dokie.
These rules.
This is gonna be very silly. Okay.
Are we both rolling?
Yes.
Opposed,
it's an opposed check.
So
we're both
I'm
gonna
just rolling mine and you're rolling yours. Got it.
And you can have a boost for the general chaos. I've given Lillian a setback for the general chaos because she has all of these troops that she's trying to manage, and don't.
Valentyne is specifically trying to like power bottom his way into command of her unit.
Yes.
He generates a tremendous amount of power.
All right, let's do it.
Yep.
6 successes and 2 advantage.
I got a triumph, 2 failure, and 1 threat. Lillian's having a weird day.
Yeah, you tell me how this works out, baby. That's a confusing ass roll.
What is opposed?
Okay.
Wait, should we math out the failures and successes so you know what it's triumph versus?
No, because she fails. I think she loses the check.
'Cause that's one fail.
Yeah, she's got failures
Net, right?
and you have successes. So like already, really where it would be messy is if we both had.
Yeah.
Where it would be messy successes, if you will, would be if we both had successes and had to like math it out. In this case, she just fucking loses. You win. but she has a triumph, which really fucks with things.
Yeah.
Genesis. The band. So
Don't besmirch Phil Collins.
no, I never would. He'll be in my heart. All right. So with the triumph, and sorry, Ryan, blather means that she now has.
So blather at the end of this just adds 2 failures for her to perceive checks to detect Attikus. So I was figuring that would probably just be we just make the difficulty 2 easier.
Yes. I mean, honestly, I would just take that she doesn't, because I mean, the math I was working on, just to be transparent on my side, was that Attikus is telling the truth, but he is also aware that Voidstain is out there and they've had interactions all night. So the interesting challenge there is like, he's telling the truth, but he's also being deceitful, because if she pressed him, he could possibly break, because he's not a lying type guy. However, because he's delivering it earnestly and then you're causing a distraction, I actually don't think, just as I play this scene in my head, I don't think like, he's not claiming like, no, what? No. And then like hiding Voidstain under a fucking, like sweeping him under a rug. Like I think we can actually just nullify the check for Attikus altogether, because I think this distraction is good enough. But now I need to figure out the fucking triumph.
Yeah.
Because that changes things a little bit. So
She solves the mystery.
Valentyne drops his rosette.
No!
That's not it. Please don't make that.
Why would you
He
joke about
blathers
these
so
things?
hard
Yeah.
his rosette
He's
popped
like
out.
gesticulating
Yeah.
a bit, you know, he can't help himself.
Over there. He just shaking it around. No one expects the Inquisition.
It's true.
are you very aware of any heresies with my name in front of the name of the show? All right, let's go. Okay, so
The Gilliman Heresy.
It's just got us.
what do we do with this triumph?
What do you do with the triumphant great bridge? What is our show going to be?
Yeah, okay. So I think she will. Oh, okay. Here's what it is. This is very dumb. She listens to your blathering and is actually like kind of takes it to heart. She goes, turns from Attikus, saying like, okay, all right, forgive me. Turns back to her assembled people and says, this servant makes a very good point. These people could be alive if we had properly enforced the king's will and we had ensured that no shenanigans went down during the fucking curfew. So as of now, consider yourselves on martial law duty. We will make sure that everyone is observed at all times. I don't want another disaster happening on our terms. Make sure Lord Voidstain's body is not amongst these, and radio in for troops to be deployed to every major house. Turns back, she says, thank you. This is going to be a huge help for everyone.
To me or to?
To Rabute Figuerillo. But just legitimately, like, you can tell she's been having a bad few days, and now it's just like, okay, fuck it, a gun in every house. That's the way we're doing it. And she just kind of thanks you for that, and then she heads back towards the ship to radio back in, update Forrest Pollard and like everyone else.
Can I check out the wreckage of this house? The fire's out?
I mean, fire is still going, but it's no longer a towering inferno. It's like if you've watched any of the horrific kind of forest fire footage where it's kind of like you blast it down enough and then you still just keep damping it down. So yeah, it's still crispy, but
okay.
If you wanted to investigate, you could hang out for a bit longer and take a look. What are you specifically after?
I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm just trying to keep my eyes open for irregularities. I don't think Attikus can put together how strange some of this evidence is so far. He just doesn't have the background that Valentyne has of like, oh, these dead bodies shouldn't be here if they truly perished in a fire. And I think even the wall of evidence, Attikus is probably taking it at face value because Attikus is like, oh, heresy? I get to smash something? But I think he's just trying to, because it's on fire, inside the house is the only thing he can't really see. And so he's just kind of like, what's going on in there? What happened here? So I think he just that's what he wants to do. To communicate that to Rabute, I think he would say,
Rabute, I would like to see the inside of Voidstain Manor, get to the bottom of how this fire came about. If there are any survivors in there, unlikely though it may be, we may learn something of their last moments.
I'll assist you however I can, my lord.
I'll take your advisement as assistance for now. Does this seem a prudent use of our time, given that we have much to prepare for tomorrow and whatnot?
I believe we could spend some time doing this, yes, sir. Then perhaps we could speak with these troops about getting, shall we say, a flight home.
Yeah, at this point, there are just like 3 or 4, well, we'll say 4. 3 or 4, Jesus. I'm the GM. There's 4 house guard from the royal house, so 4 royal guard, standing politely nearby that are clearly your escort now. So they can get you back easily enough once you're done investigating. We'll say for the purposes of what you want to do, enough of the fire has gone out that you can kind of observe, and the sort of fire marshals are down on site now. And one of them, they're wearing very like fancy, a little bit like if you look at sort of Victorian times when everyone was slightly overdressed. It's like very fanciful, overdone firefighting gear.
Okay.
So very similar to the aristocratic stuff you've seen elsewhere, where it's like still the size of a standard like firefighter coat, but it's got frills and like rolled up cuffs and things, and it's blue, and kind of like a flared coat, and just there's a BioShock Infinite level of extra going on. So the fire chief leading this crew comes over and she kind of presses a seal at the bottom of her helmet. There's a kind of a hiss as the reflective plate separates, and she just kind of clicks it up onto her forehead. And she looks, rough. This was clearly an emergency call. But she kind of comes over and does a proper courtly bow to you before rising and saying, "My lord, I understand that you would like to see the wreckage of the house."
Yes. You see, my arm here can lift quite a heft if you need any assistance. I was present at the Valentyne crash, and I would hate to leave here knowing I could do more.
She looks at your arm with deep jealousy, as someone who is a professional who could truly benefit from a tool that a different professional has. And she says, "Yes, I am familiar with your actions at the finish line. That is, in fact, why I came over to speak to you. Normally, we wouldn't let a lord, lady, or anyone of the nobility do this, but you have proven yourself. You have proven certain metal to your being, and also you have the giant arm. So yes, please, if you wouldn't mind, my crew could use a closer look, and if this helps whatever form of investigation you're doing." She leans in a little bit closer and she says, "I really don't trust the King's Guard to get this done in any real speed. They are not the best of the best."
I see.
Not unlike us firefighters.
Right. You may speak plainly with me, by the way. No need for this show of deference.
And she kind of looks a little taken aback at that and says, "I understand that you're from off-world, sir, and you may not understand our ways here, but I would feel more comfortable addressing you as Lord, though I do appreciate the courtesy."
Right, well, as long as it doesn't stymie the communication of important information, like what's going on here.
Again, I will do my best to show you, and I certainly don't mean that there is anything untoward about the King's Guard, just that you say march, they march. You say jump, they don't even ask you how high, they just jump. You say go here, they go here. But as evidenced by, she points to the giant flaming building, she says, our current curfew situation, as well as the untimely death of Lady Boundsong and the horrible things that have befallen both Lord Versailles and Lord Kiros, and now Lord Voidstain. They are a tool, but not a particularly effective one, no matter what the king seems to suggest. I think perhaps having a space marine on his arm may have led to a certain sense of safety and control that is not necessarily true of the entire plan. But please, enough of my conjecture. Allow me to show you to the burning site. So she brings you over.
My man will join me here.
Very good, sir. So she brings you over, and again, like the building's kind of collapsed inward. That said, between your arm having Marcella DeVille, the fire chief, and having Valentyne, you can just do a proper, and her crew, you can basically do a quick investigation of the fire, Valentyne, if you want. And we will say, as usual, that it's a, like, Attikus is leading it with, Cyrano de Bergerac over here.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot of classic, like, and the fire crew would see this because anybody would have in this kind of society, which is like, if there is a pertinent question being missed, instead of asking it, Rabute just says, "My lord, are you wondering about this? I can see it in your eyes."
I am indeed, yes.
Yeah, and then just feed question, get question asked.
And honestly, you notice the fire crew doing the same thing with Marcella. Like, it's the same no matter where your station is, you suggest
you're above or below. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get I think, Ryan, this is probably your crime scene.
Yeah, we've been using perception as our investigation stat.
So we'll do that. I'm going to say boost for Attikus for the arm. Just being able to, like, we're going to add you as a bonus
Great.
to Valentyne. You get a boost for Marcella and her crew.
Mm-hmm.
You get a setback from it still being
actively burning.
Yeah. Now I think
and being hosed. Still,
it's unpleasant. I'm also going to give you a setback for the for your new Triumph-based armed guard, who are standing nearby enough to be getting a little bit underfoot. They're just like, because you don't trust them, it means there's a lot of like, oh, if I was in free company, I could just look at this, but now I have to turn my back so they can't read my lips and shit. It's just adding an additional layer of nonsense to what you're trying to do.
Considering I am immune to fear, would that qualify to discomfort from guards?
Not fear or discomfort, is that you don't want them to...
fair enough.
They don't. It's more you don't want them to clue into the fact that you're not who you say you are.
Yep. What's the difficulty?
Difficulty of 2. Nothing's working against you other than the fact that it's burnt. And our story points sit at 2 and 3.
Would my auspex come into play on this?
Yes.
I'm just going to let this ride. 6 successes, 1 advantage.
Holy crap.
I don't know why we even bother with the dice anymore. Just tell me what you want to do and it'll just happen.
As long as Valentyne looks and I punch.
Valentyne in a fight, mediocre. Valentyne making friends, terrible. Valentyne investigating a crime scene as a trained inquisitor, pretty good.
Right. So it's just boxing matches for Valentyne from here to the end of the game.
I brought a guy who successfully not died for several seasons, and that's it. And we hit the mystery. Now he's fucking Sherlock Holmes.
Pretty high mark of success here. Okay, so in investigating this, it becomes pretty clear, I think, to you, Valentyne, and also with Marcella helping, that this is arson. This is not an accidental fire. You can tell there's been a ton of accelerant used because, again, like, it seems like the building was truly well built. It just went up too fast. And all the fire crew is remarking on how quickly a building this old and this well built went. They all knew it was a little bit unkept, though. So, like, it's not outside the realm that it would burn, but the speed and stuff is somewhat suspect. And yeah, from the looks of it, this is definitely someone did this. And I think it is, the fire crew also does confirm your theory, not in as many words, but are all they're all astonished that for some reason the cellar didn't
go up,
burn,
or collapse.
Yeah, they're just like, wow, there's a lot of damage down here, and look, this whole wall is burnt, but nothing else. And one of them
just burns on both sides.
Yeah. Well, one of them points out that there seem to be heavy kind of like they say the wall damage in front of the conspiracy wall. They remark that it's odd because it almost seems like someone was trying to do renovations. They're like, why would anyone be renovating a wall down here? And they just kind of remark on like how fresh the damage looks, and it literally seems like someone sledgehammered it, which seems odd to them. But in a kind of a like, this place sucks and this guy's an idiot, so like, just as bad renovations. Can you believe the handicraft down here?
How cheap is he?
Yeah, so that's what you guys get from this. I will say it, in terms of the arson thing, it does seem like, again, like the fuel, the accelerant, everything was inside the mansion. It wasn't like bombed from space or anything.
Yeah, that checks out for Valentyne, considering whoever is in charge of this conspiracy has clearly suborned staff.
Yeah.
At the front gate and elsewhere. If you own the security, it's really easy to put a bomb in a house.
Also, this confirms, because you're all doing an investigation, this confirms for both Marcella and for Oliver that Lord Voidstain's body is not among these bodies.
Yeah.
It's not my perception role, but if Attikus was A, being fed questions to ask, and also I think throwing some questions of his own, 2, he would be keen to kind of tell people to look out for is any servitor skulls in the wreckage that can be reclaimed. And I think more personally to Rebute would say,
Do we know what Valentyne listening devices look like? Or devices and bugs from other houses?
Unfortunately, that is beyond our personal expertise, though we may be able to find, shall we say, associates who could look into that for us.
Right. Okay.
yeah, that's, I'm just thinking about recording the events that took place in this house prior to the fire, whether that can be salvaged from, what are they, hard drives in servitor skulls? I don't know.
Servo skulls, you'd assume, they've got something like that. Like, there's the possibility if they were around.
Okay, I think what I'm going to say...
He's a lord, so I figure he's got something, but also he's Voidstain, so maybe he has absolutely dog shit.
Well, we did describe earlier that he had some like wind-up ones that were kind of shitty. I think it's safe to say one was recovered. However, it is immediately being taken away by
Imperial forces.
The king's forces.
Okay. I think that's
is there
all
anything
Attikus
you'd
could
want to
ask
do
for.
to try and prevent that, or is that like a... Keeping in mind that you're already on kind of... There's no reason for you to be here in the first place, so you're already kind of looking shady, but you can attempt to stop it if you want.
I don't think Attikus would know how in his role.
That's not something... that's like... Valentyne can't ask Attikus, like, do you think you should interrupt them and steal from the king?
Right.
No, they just got to let that one ride, sadly. That one's beyond them.
Cool. I'll just dangle my lure as it just with a hook very clearly in it as it just disappears. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
They also dangle threats. There's a couple of guns around. I don't know.
All right. So with that, having sort of completed the your walkabout, the sun is beginning to sort of breach the horizon, and the foreguard kind of come up behind you in kind of a, we should get you home because the events are starting tomorrow kind of way. They gestured to one of the dropships. As you are boarding the dropship, though, you get a look at the bodies that have been lined up. And Valentyne, just kind of as you're like MASH style, as you're being like pulled into this thing and it starts to take off, you can very clearly see that none of the body types match the guard you met. So kind of with that image and that kind of frayed thread hanging fresh in your mind, the ship takes off as the sun breaches the horizon, and you begin your quick flight home to prepare for the day of the hunt.
This episode of the Valentyne Heresy features the voices of players Ryan LaPlante, Tyler Hewitt, Laura Hamstra, and Del Borovic, alongside Game Master Tom McGee. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the Valentyne Heresy's artwork was created by Del Borovic at delborovic.com. That's DELBOROVIC. Our theme song is The Hordes by Megan McDuffie, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR. All of their music is available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Ave Imperator, and death to all the heretics.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Flynn 1138, Alarain Okapi, Schrodinger's Pepper, Guy Edwards, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Mithrian, Garbo Ape, Locke, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dagger Rain, Rob L., Dia de los Hoodless, Diovasis, Squishy Werewolf, Remy, Funky Head, Nomad, the Wise Paladin of the Badlands, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Shulzari, Gus Schreider, Drama, The Long Family, Jordan Oliver, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.